Hello and welcome to SEC Baseball Awards. It's that time of year. We are in the postseason. We got our all-conference teams ready to unveil those to you. Can't wait to get into that. Before we get there, Jay Greason, fantastic year in the SEC. Can't wait to unpack this. I mean, some of us dressed for the occasion, and some of us just, took it a little more casually. But that's okay. We're here.
Well, you're the MC of our SEC baseball Oscars, so I would expect nothing less. I'm waiting for your Conan O'Brien soliloquy, and I hope our award picks are not as boneheaded as the early '90s Oscar going to Dances with Wolves over Goodfellas. So
Yeah.
we'll do our best, and I can assure you it is not for a lack of preparation for my man, Chris Lee.
No, the preparation literally ran us right into the show start. So good morning, Caleb. Glad you're here. Just a hint, your LSU Tigers will be pretty well represented on this team. Here's what we did. We did 3 teams. And should we just get into the first team?
I think so, yes, because I think we go.
Yeah.
Or we could do it like we did in the midseason awards, and we go position by position, and that way we're covering everybody at a spot accordingly.
Yeah, well, and people can ask questions. Hey, why is this guy here? Why is that guy there? Why is this guy not on? I was going to give it a second to maybe see if Alfred and Graham would jump in, but they may both have run up into a schedule today. If they join in, we will bring them in accordingly. But, yeah, can't wait to do this. And here's what we have done, okay? I have picked a team, every position in the field, offensively. And then the best player that I did not have on that team, the best guy left, I put in is a DH/EH/whatever. The guy may not have even played DH, but it was a way to get the best player, honorary player who didn't make the first team, rather than booting him on the second team and sticking just to a DH. If that player happened to play the same position as another guy who made the team, and the guy who made the team was a better fielder, I played the better fielder in the field, put that guy as the DH. Does that make sense?
To me, but I need the color coordinated your flow charts, man. I mean, you rock kindergarten.
Yeah, well, you'll get some of that. Here's what I did on pitching. I named 3 starting pitchers. I named a true closer, and I named a long reliever / flex guy, because I think that guy gets underrated. The guy that doesn't close, but you can bring him in for 4 innings on a weekend when you're 4-3 on an SEC weekend. You're in the 5th inning. Your guy's on the ropes. That guy's got value. He should get honored. We did it here.
Well, that guy's not only – he may be underrated when guys are scanning stats. If you're just voting on stats, then it's a mistake, because I'm willing to bet Schloss wouldn't trade Dylan Volantis for, with the exception of Liam Doyle and the couple of the LSU starters that Caleb mentioned out the chute. I mean, you're never going to give a long reliever pitcher of the year. I mean, it's going to be a Friday night dude. But Dylan Volantis was invaluable as Texas put a flag on an SEC championship in its first year in this league.
Yeah, absolutely. Dylan Volantis will be on the team. Let's go ahead and unveil our first team. And let's see. Here we go. Your first team on SEC. Let me make it a little bigger so everybody can see it. And that's what we've done here. Let me scroll over. So I've got all your stats. These 2 things over here, it's how many runs a guy created for this team on the season and per 27 outs. That's for the season. This over here is their slash line and conference play for the hitters. Down here, you got innings pitched ERA, runners per inning, saves for the year, and then conference numbers. So you can kind of see how we arrived at our work. man, some positions like catcher was brutally tough. First base was, third base was. I mean, there were some tough selections. Slade Alford, once I ran through this, was the best guy left over. I put him as an EH. He's a very competent third baseman. So that's not to slight him. I just got Reece there. So those are our first team guys. Went with Liam Doyle, Kyson Witherspoon, and Sam Dutton would have probably been there most of the year, Jay, but he slipped a little bit down the stretch. Anthony Eyanson for LSU was unbelievably consistent and really, really good and durable down the stretch. So he ended up sneaking in as our third team guy. Volantis is your closer, your true closer, although he can go in a long relief. And Sawyer Hawks has been amazing for Vanderbilt. Like, he's the guy they bring in with the game and the balance. You can see the numbers here overall in conference. So he was our long/swing guy on our first team.
Jackson, I got you, bro. When we first started kicking this around, Chris Rembert at Auburn was slotted in the outfield. But if you dig into the stats, he played majority of the season at second base. And I completely agree at catcher. I completely agree first team, first base, because the stat I saw today that just blew my hair back, Andrew Fischer reached base in every game this year.
Goodness.
I mean, he reached base, which is your goal when you walk to the plate, to reach base, and he did it in every single game. I mean, it made me think of the amazing streaks that Robin Ventura had at Oklahoma State, and you can make a conversation that he's on the short list, the Rushmore of best college baseball players when you're talking about Robin Ventura. Yeah. But I would have Chris Rembert from Auburn at second base over Daniel Dickinson. And I know somebody Caleb again has pointed out, Dickinson has had a great year.
Oh, he's been tremendous.
Has been an absolute dude, especially the last month. And if Volantis hadn't already put his name in Sharpie on the Freshman of the Year award, I think Rembert's in the short list of that conversation too.
Oh, we'll have that conversation later. We're going to vote. I have not done Player of the Year awards. We're going to walk through those and decide them on the spot. I've got ideas, but I was intending for that one to be a group discussion. Yeah, and by the way, you're going to see Chris Rembert really soon, like right now, I believe. I mean, largest so everybody can see it. Again, I did. Oh, good grief. What have I done here? There we go. This would be your second team. And Rembert is in the outfield. But I could have easily made that switch to second base. You caught that. And if I'd caught that, well, I'll go through, like, if we were to move Rembert to second base, you know, I guess it would have kicked Dickinson to second team, or we would have found another outfielder somewhere. But either way, he had a fantastic year, super deserving of a high honor, and that's where I slotted him.
I think it's a testament, and you and I were talking in the green room about what an amazing year it's been in SEC baseball. Look at that second team pitching staff. And I don't disagree because of what Eyanson did down the stretch. And we got a great question from Bob about have teams figured Dutton out a little bit. I mean,
yeah,
the numbers down the stretch kind of point you into that kind of thought process, which if you're an Auburn fan has got to be scary going into tournament play, because you need to pencil that guy in for quality start after quality start. But Kade Anderson, Ben Cleaver, and Sam Dutton were bona fide dudes. And Kason Evans was so good that they just couldn't leave him in the bullpen any longer. I mean,
yeah,
that guy's got Ben McDonald, borderline Paul Skeen stuff at LSU.
Yeah, and this is, look, we went through the whole last night. People took issue with us having LSU as the 6th overall national seed. And I said that is not indicative of I think they're the number 6 team. You strike a balance between metrics and how good a team is. I'm really high on LSU. Right now, if I had to pick a team to win the College World Series, it's probably between them and Arkansas, and I'm probably leaning LSU, and it's because of this stuff right here. You can cover a lot of elite innings with those guys. And, oh, by the way, Eyanson was on the first team. So that's I really think pitching is always where I go first. When I'm making a decision about a team and it's close, I'm always going to lean pitching. And that right there is why I think LSU's got a chance to win its second national title in 3 years.
Well, I completely agree with you. And now the one thing that has been, and we got some LSU fans in here, man, oh man, if we're going to have the conversation about have teams figured out Sam Dutton, have teams kind of figured out Derek Curiel a little bit, because that's a kid in his first season in the last month has struggled mightily.
Yeah.
And but that's just talking about LSU, not necessarily in the All SEC conversation. That's in the LSU as one of the heavyweights conversation, and I completely agree. And if you click back to the first team for a second, and because we didn't spend complete team a whole lot of time on the rest of, we talked about how hard catcher was in first base and the debate about whether Rembert's an outfielder or a second baseman. I think your third baseman in dunks and your shortstop are dunks. I mean,
yeah.
And I'm certain if we had all four of our regulars here, it would probably be unanimous with Aloy and Reece, because Mississippi State has played themselves into the postseason, and a big part of that has been Ace Reece. And your outfield, if you're talking crunching numbers, and somebody had a question about Davalon or Snell, I mean, Snell has been a linchpin even with all the Days of Our Lives drama about whether Justin LeBron's hurt, whether he's not, but he was certainly slumping. And Kate Snell was a dude in SEC play. I think he was second behind Ike Irish in batting average he was eighth in SEC batting average, hitting .356 in league play, which I think has to carry a little more weight because of how great the pitching is.
Yeah. I mean, it was a great year for pitching. Let's get the third team. I might have caught one thing I need to correct while we're doing this. I'm just going to let you react to this.
All right.
While I look something up. But that's what I got as a third team. We did have some other good players in here that didn't make the team. I'll go through some of those guys. Like third base in particular was a nightmare to try to pick. But anyway, your thoughts on the third team here?
Well, I think the two names that immediately jump out to you on this, and they're assuredly a surprise depending on when we would have taken the poll on this. Rylan Zaborowski was probably on the short list of our midseason player of the year, and Jace Lavalette was everybody's pick to be the Golden Spikes front runner when the season started. And we had a Texas A&M fan put it in the chat about what a disastrous year. I'm curious how much money he cost himself this year compared to last.
Yeah.
NIL notwithstanding, of course.
And I don't think he had the choice. I don't think he was a draft eligible sophomore, but
right. But
yeah,
if
he could had he been able to a year ago, absolutely. Yeah.
And I think Hunter Inslee is a great player at Tennessee. Your point about catchers being difficult because this leaves Freilich off, and he had a tremendous year.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, I know somebody was sharing some love with Iredale at third base with Arkansas, especially defensively, and that's a completely fair conversation to have too. Golly, man. Aiden King was a beast, and third team is probably where he belongs.
Yeah. There were so many good pitchers that didn't make it. Third base was the hardest one. I mean, Brent Iredale being your third team first baseman, That's not an indictment on Brent Iredale. That
No.
is telling you. I mean, there were 8 guys that we probably could have put on here. On one of the 3
and the
teams.
conversation you shared in the show prep is spot on. Third base is a beauty pageant in this league right now. And
yeah.
I mean, another guy who probably was a front runner but has struggled mightily in the back half of this season, Gavin Keelan's not anywhere on these 3 teams.
Yeah. Is his SEC stats just lagged the field?
Completely agree. Completely agree. I mean, and again, these are 18 to 23-year-old dudes, and they are way better at this sport than all of us were ever better at any sport. This is not an indictment on them as players. This is an SEC with 16 teams. Depending on how many rounds it goes, they're probably going to have 100+ guys drafted next month.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's just crazy. It's crazy how good this league is.
I really like the pick of Mendoza, who is such a – I mean, the term gets bounced around a bunch. I mean, there are a handful of sports cliches that just make me glassy-eyed and glossed over. I mean, being in the zone is one of them. But Mendoza at Texas is just a ball player, man. Every time he steps on the field, he makes winning baseball plays. And my number one compliment for coaches forever is your team better than its parts? And that is the testament of good coaching. And Texas has really, in a lot of ways, been that. And Mendoza has just been, wherever they put him in the field, whenever he comes up in the 7th inning or later, dude is always a tough out. He is a guy I want on my team.
Yeah. I'm trying to think, like, guys left off at, like, I can't believe we left these guys off, but, you know, it plays out how it plays out. You got to make some picks. Cooper McMurray was really good, not as good as his conference play. Derek Curiel, like, would have been on the team the whole year. Till probably like the last week or two when he fell off. Wehiwa Aloy was another one. His league play wasn't quite as good as some of these guys. White Hensler at A&M had a really good year. Gavin Keelan was a house on fire outside of the league. Inside the league, he slashed 269, 303, 409, which is very ordinary, and also missed half the season. Well, not half. Missed, a couple of weekends of conference play. Cole Hage at Kentucky, another one. That was really good. Love that guy. Jackson Lovich had a case at Missouri based on stats alone, but they just didn't win anything, and you kind of had to go with winning baseball. Brody Donay at Florida, Brendan Lawson at Florida had really good years. Lawson could have been in the second base conversation. Donay is kind of he's a catcher, but he's more of a DH, so that hurt him a little bit. Isaac Humphrey at Ole Miss had a good year. Colby Branch at Georgia. Caden Kent. Tyler Bell at Kentucky. Love that kid. Jackson Willits at Oklahoma, another one. Freilich you mentioned. Hunter Hines had a big year. Started slow. Cam Kosiel was great in league play. Not as good outside the league. Dalton Bargo was good. I mean, there were a lot of guys. I don't want anybody to think like we didn't. And Crooks is another one. Dylan Crooks is another one that I looked at for Oklahoma. I think the issue there with him is he just didn't throw as many innings as some of these other guys. I'll look that up to make sure I'm not speaking out of turn. But he had a fantastic year too, and I didn't ignore it. He had 13 saves, an ERA of 2 even, but he only threw 27 innings. And a lot of these guys threw 40, 45 innings, and that's like 2 more full games. Brett's right. Like Cam Kosiel, if it was SEC only stats, Kosiel would have been on here. But again, a lot of guys had great years. He did very little before conference play. They couldn't find a position. Those are just the breaks. And Weston Moss was really good too, by the way. That's a good point.
And again, it is a testament to just how many dudes are in this league. And I think that's going to transfer and play out once we get beyond this week at Hoover. I think I would fully expect that baseball matches what softball does, or softball did over this past weekend, and have 9. Softball has 9 teams in the super regionals from the SEC, which is just, it's mind blowing.
In the supers,
and that's without Texas A&M, who was the number 1 overall national seed and got upset by Liberty.
Yeah.
And not to go too deep into this, but I was blown away watching that game last night. Liberty is coached by Doc Richardson, which in softball parlance is like Scottie Pippen coaching Miami of Ohio basketball. It's like one of the great players from the 80s and in the early 90s turning up at a mid-major and completely getting them to the super regional. Oh, Randy, that is hilarious. Liberty Bibberty is just a go-to. It's the second favorite commercial in our house, the Liberty Insurance series of commercials, behind the insurance commercial where you start acting like your dad, because I do so many of those things that my kids play at it every single time. Like, I always compliment servers by name. And so there's like one of them that goes, Randy and Meats at the grocery store, and he gives a big thumbs up. My kids think that is me.
I get that too. That's no surprise to anybody watching this. Sam asked Marcus Phillips what he did in league play. Had a 4.62 ERA and 48 2/3. So good season. Like any staff would kill to have a Marcus Phillips, but it just didn't stack up as well. And I could have put Curley as like a long utility guy because he did close early in the year. I think he had some saves here that I shorted him on the chart because I wasn't looking for him.
Well, and we knew you had to find a place for your boy Connor Fennell. He works quick. He doesn't throw harder than you and me. There's just a lot to like. He probably has a tuxedo T-shirt like you do. So all of that really works into Connor Fennell's favor.
Yeah. Yeah, I think there ought to be a spot on the team for a guy like him. Randy was asking about Rodriguez. Yeah, he was on my list, but third base was just brutally tough.
It was, yes.
And he DH'd probably more than I think he only played like 13 games at third. I actually looked it up because I was looking into that. So anyway, yeah, I'm not going to say I didn't forget about a guy. I'm just going to say the chances were low that I did. And if your guy didn't make the team, it's not because he's not good. It's because of everybody else.
And I can assure you guys this. It's not because Chris didn't evaluate every number. Dude crunches more numbers than a CPA on March 14th. Trust me.
And I'll tell you what, I can't wait to get to Hoover just to put the numbers away and watch. Pick up on little stuff that you don't see all the time. Because let's face it, we're watching – some weekends we're trying to track 8 games at times. So I'm going to miss stuff. I'm not God, and as I tell my wife, I'm not a mind reader either. So those are two things you can know about this going in. But you can know we put time into it and cared about it and tried to get it right. So
well, and to that end, about not only going to Hoover, we've had completely fair questions about and just to reiterate, SEC stats should mean more because the competition elevates. Again, you're going to have unbalanced schedules in a league where you don't play everybody. You're also going to have, but we also have unbalanced schedules too, where some of these teams didn't play a whole lot of. Tennessee smoked a whole lot of their first half of the season, especially in non-conference, And whether you want to be a compiler or a stat thing, that has to be factored in. Now, to that end, baseball's a game of numbers. So, I mean, a lot of these numbers are best we can create equal.
Yeah. I had a little mistake on Reese's conference numbers. I called it. So there you go. I mean, he and Irish are just basically the same hitter.
They have been obscene in the league.
Yeah.
I mean, it's 398, 397 between those two dudes. Reece has 12 doubles and 15 homers in league play.
Yeah.
38 RBIs. I mean, he was 1 point away from, at least the numbers I'm looking at, from being in league play the Triple Crown winner. And that's only because Irish hit a point better.
Let's pick a player of the year. Let's talk through it, okay? I'm just going to go down the list, and we're going to select the short list of candidates. Rylan Galvan would have been on there to the last few weeks, and he tailed off. Andrew Fischer, probably you could say maybe the best hitter in the league. Like if I had to say who's the guy I absolutely don't want to face under any circumstance, it might be Andrew Fischer. But, boy, the fielding was not pretty at times, and I think that does matter. Daniel Dickinson, LSU, really, really great season. I don't think he's player of the year. Ace Reece has to be on the short list because of the way he carried state late and the power numbers. Wehiwa Aloy, elite bat, shortstop with good defense, going to be a first rounder, I think. I think he's on the short list. Robbie Burnett at Georgia is probably on there too, just because he produced in and out of the league. And I know that's that park tends to favor hitting, but I feel like he hit a lot of places. Ike Irish has got to be on there. The only thing on Irish is he missed some time, okay? I think he missed, the weekend before conference play started and maybe the first weekend. So you look over at plate appearances, he's lacking a little bit compared to some of these other guys. Do you factor that in? Cade Snell was terrific. Not a tremendous outfielder. And Alabama didn't have quite as much at the top in terms of accomplishment. So I think he's very good, but not on the list. And Slade Alford, I had as my EH. So I had him as our second best third baseman. So he can't. So I think to me, it's the conversation is probably Fischer, Reece, Aloy, Burnett, and Irish.
I think that's fair. I think Fischer, with the way and rightly or wrongly, I mean, heck, are we still in a Major League Baseball scenario where Andre Dawson was the first Major League Baseball MVP from a losing team? And I don't know how many others you can name when he won it with the Cubs in the late 80s. And so, I mean, in Tennessee is not a losing team by any stretch of the mean.
Yeah.
But down the stretch, I actually think it's three dudes. And if and my top three ballots would be in order: Aloy, Irish, and Reece.
Yeah. Those would be my three candidates. To me, and Bill James said this once, the most important stat in baseball is winning games. I don't ever hold it against somebody that their team doesn't win.
Agreed.
But if you're in the midst of a pennant race, so to speak, and you're really mashing at every turn, to me, those are the things that matter and break ties. I think to me, it's a three guy race. You said Aloy, Irish, and Reece. Okay. I believe Aloy fielded 955 as a shortstop. Reece fielded like 889 as a third baseman, which is not very good. I'm not saying he's not a good player, but if we're gonna really hone in with the fine-tooth comb, I think that's got to be a consideration. No, I don't know that anybody hit better in league play than Ace Reece. But Ike Irish, I mean, their numbers were right there too. Here's another thing. I think Auburn played the toughest schedule of all three of those teams. I think that factors in probably. State missed Arkansas, Georgia, Tennessee, A&M, and Vandy. Auburn missed Arkansas, Florida, Missouri, Oklahoma, A&M. So I think there's a big difference in conference schedule. And then Aloy would have missed Alabama, Auburn, Kentucky, Mississippi State, Oklahoma.
One, position matters and stuff like this. And shortstop is as an important position as there is on the field that is not towing the rubber or putting a mask on. If Irish was, and we don't even know what his future may be at the next level. We know he's a big league hitter, but if he had produced these numbers behind the plate, he's a dunk.
Yeah.
I mean, he is an absolute dunk as your SEC Player of the Year. And
but hey, Jake, can I cut you off a minute? But he can also catch if he's needed, which adds to his value.
Absolutely, yes, it does. And I think Irish is just a smidge behind Aloy, but whether Arkansas was a more complete team, I just think being on the second best team behind Texas also is a feather in Aloy's cap in the Player of the Year conversations.
Man,
Mac brings up an interesting point that a tiebreaker could be how did these people do against LSU's arms, because LSU has elite arms. Irish crushed.
Yeah. With Irish, you're trading a little bit less playing time, including he missed a weekend in the series. And let me look at because if you're gonna pick Aloy, right, it's gonna be okay. You're trading what compared to Irish? You're trading 240 points of slugging in the league. You're trading 77 points of on-base percentage in the league. And is the defense worth that? Does the defense make up the difference? If you're doing Reece, it's saying he and Irish were basically the same hitter in league play. Irish played a tougher schedule and missed a weekend.
Again, it is the beauty pageant conundrum of all three of these dudes. There's not a bad choice, but we got to make a choice. So
okay, we could split the vote if you like. Are you sticking with Aloy?
I'm going Aloy, Irish, and then Reece.
I'm going Irish, Aloy, Reece.
Well, then
it is. If you want to tell me I'm wrong, feel free, because I might be. I think he meant so much to his team
among the three.
Yeah.
And since it's just the two of us, I got no problem with picking the team that overachieved either. And Irish was a mother in SEC play.
Yeah, I get that they both lit it up in SEC play, but down the stretch, Aloy, and it's no knock on Reece, right? It's not saying he's bad, but like he's lighting up Missouri. Who else did they play down the stretch? Ole Miss, which is a good team, pitching not as good. Kentucky.
And they swept South Carolina, didn't they? Or they swept Kentucky.
Yeah, and Irish is doing it against Tennessee. South Carolina. Well, let's see. Tennessee, South Carolina, Ole Miss. We talked about LSU if you go back further. I just think, to me, the tiebreaker is the schedule. You did it against tougher pitching, and that's where I'm going to go.
All right.
But any of those three guys could have been Player of the Year a lot of years.
I don't think we're going to have as big a debate about Pitcher of the Year.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's Liam Doyle, man.
I think it is too. And I think Doyle's numbers got brought back to the pack based on that last start, which, to his credit, the kid pitched through the last two starts with the blister, which to me points to toughness and taking one for the team. Witherspoon and Eyanson ended up with comparable numbers. Witherspoon's ERA was a little better. But here's the other thing. If we're going to talk about, Tennessee benefits from short porch, and that's why guess who's got a pitch in that? It's Liam Doyle.
I mean, don't get me wrong. As somebody mentioned this in the chat, I forget who it was. I'm going to go back and find it because it's worth the point. It was Randy, who's one of our great regulars. When we were talking about player of the year, he said they both millionaires in a few months. They are fine. 100% agree. And same with these pitchers we're talking about, because they all got 95 plus. They all have just filthy breaking stuff. And it is, but Liam Doyle, even more than Kyson, even more than Eyanson, he was just an absolute bell cow every Friday night. And the blister slowed him down a little bit, and his numbers reverted a little bit more to the mean. But I kind of, when I rank a bunch of these things in my column at the Times Free Press here in Chattanooga, I also like to, if you were going to trade one way or the other, who says no first? And I think Tennessee says no on trading anybody, any pitcher in this league, and maybe in college baseball, for Liam Doyle right now.
Yeah. If you want some other stuff, okay, just some other numbers. Doyle went 9-3, struck out 44% of the hitters, free pass rate of 11%, home run rate 2.9, K- free pass rate of 33%. That's unbelievable. And a fly ball rate of 16%. And runs, if you include unearned runs, it's a 306. Witherspoon went, let's see. Witherspoon also went 9-3, 33% strikeouts, 9% free pass rate. So he didn't strike out as many, but he didn't put as many on either. Gave up 3% home run rate flat, 19% fly balls. If you count unearned runs, he also had a 3.02. So, like, his numbers and Doyle's were exceptionally similar. It was just that, Witherspoon struck out a few less, and was less wild.
But only one of them had a no-hitter.
Well, that too. I've got my pick. Do you have yours?
Yeah.
I'm going.
Mine's Liam Doyle.
Yeah. Well, hang on. Before we go, let's give Anthony Eyanson a discussion here. I don't think he's the answer, but just want to make sure we didn't miss something, okay?
All right.
Eyanson, a 2.88 ERA, 321 runs per nine. You can see the conference stats, 36% strikeout rate, 9% free pass rate, so excellent around. There's a 1.2% home run rate. That's the best of those three. So he kept the ball in the park. He was around the plate, and he actually had the best SEC ERA of those guys. So I don't know, if that's enough to overturn, but he was pretty special too. He just snuck up on people because he pitched out of the two, and he was not in the conversation all year.
I think that matters because you're now pitching. I mean, I know it doesn't necessarily matter in a whole lot of the metrics, but it matters in your win-loss. Is he the best two in the league? We've said that for 6+ weeks. But Liam Doyle is facing Kyson Witherspoon. I mean, you could make an argument that there was, for the last month, there's been nothing as sure in this league as Ben Cleaver. But he's pitching on Saturdays and Sundays in Game 3. And that matters.
Yeah. By the way, Cleaver did make the second team. We didn't really talk about him, but I'd be real interested to see
especially considering the injuries that Texas had to their rotation. I'll be real interested to see if Dylan Volantis doesn't get some votes. If some of this starting pitching conversation maybe doesn't split the electorate a little bit.
Yeah.
Because I mean, that's a guy who was shoved into a whole lot of leverage situations that he didn't get a choice out of. And I mean, we can talk about, is Auburn 17-3 and poised to be a national seed without Ike Irish? No. Is Reece a big reason why Mississippi State has played themselves into the postseason? Absolutely. Is Aloy the best player on what a lot of us think may be the best SEC team that had with a chance to win a natty? I think so. Texas is not the number 1 overall seed in the country without Dylan Volantis. Period. Exclamation point, if I need to further put it down there.
Yeah, I mean, batter for batter right now, he's probably the guy in the league, like your life depending on it. I got to get one guy that pitches in any spot in this league to get an out. Dylan Volantis is probably where you go.
But my vote is still Doyle.
Yeah.
But if I did 1, 2, 3, I might go Doyle, Volantis, and then Witherspoon. And one of the things, and this is nitpicking, but didn't for the first half of this SEC season, it felt like Oklahoma was losing a whole bunch of Witherspoon starts. Now, he wasn't getting a loss, but until lately, because somebody put it in the chat, and I think it's completely fair, that Doyle was a dunk until the blister stuff happened, and then he has come back to the pack. I don't want recency bias to maybe affect my opinion on Liam Doyle's been the best pitcher in this league pretty much all season.
Yeah, Oklahoma was 5-5 in Witherspoon's league starts. And outside the league, 4-0. Doyle, let me look that one up. Tennessee went 4-0 out of conference. And then lost 1, 2, 3. Yeah, Tennessee was 7-3. Well, wait a minute. Doyle started game 2 last week. Correct?
Yes.
So that was 6-4. Did Witherspoon go in the 1 or 2 last week? I think he went in the 1 hole.
I do too.
Yeah. Yeah. Coach, I think we've hit everything but Coach of the Year, correct?
I don't think we've discussed Freshman of the Year because.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I say we give a hitter and a pitcher.
Well, then Volantis is a dunk as pitcher of the year, right?
Well, Aiden, there would be an Aiden King conversation too.
Oh, that's fair. That's fair, especially with all their injuries for that guy to be an anchor.
Yep.
That's
and boy,
but I'm still voting Volantis because I'm a huge fan of everything that he represents.
I think I am too. But here's what King did. 65 and a third, 276 ERA, home run rate, holy smokes, a 0.7% home run rate, 9% free pass rate, 26% strikeout rate, 1.21 runners against. Volantis, and by the way, if you add in unearned runs, he went up a full run almost, 372. Volantis went... good grief. 45 and a third, a $1.66 ERA, 2.08 if you add in the unearned runs, 12 saves, 0.95 runners per inning, 1.8% home run rate, which is really good. 38% strikeouts, 8% free passes. I mean, really it is, again, pitch for pitch, Volantis is the guy. Does that outweigh the other 20-something innings?
Caleb is a conversation about Evans being in this chat too.
Yeah, and he's probably right. I think Volantis was just a little bit better. So if you go in reliever against reliever,
I agree. No, I agree.
Let me
is my
make
choice,
sure.
and it's my mind's not changing on this one. This one was the easiest. The freshman pitcher of the year, Aiden King, deserves his flowers, and so does Evans at LSU. But I mean, how do any of those? I mean, they lost their Friday night starter and needed to find innings either on Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. And Dylan Volantis said, "Give me the ball, I'll get you outs."
By the way, Volantis, not good grief. Case and Evans, that's who I mean. Did not give up a home run all year, which is crazy.
Especially when you throw that hard.
Yep.
Especially when you throw that hard. Because, I mean, whether it's softball, whether it's baseball, if you've got a pitcher who is – all it takes is just mediocre contact and somebody's leaving the building. So, yes.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think Volantis is the guy. Just wanted to make sure we had a fair conversation on it.
As for freshman position player of the year, you're not going to convince me it's anybody but Chris Rembert.
Oh, I think it's Chris Rembert. I mean, Curiel was in the conversation, fell out late. Oh, who else would be in there? Adrian Rodriguez at Texas.
Maybe. But Chris Rembert has been, as Auburn has really solidified their place, and I missed last night as y'all were kicking around some regional stuff, but he's been right there with Ike Irish ringing the bell for Auburn and Butch Thompson. I mean, just a tremendous year for a kid, especially the back half, who, as we had the conversation earlier about, are some of these people, are some teams figuring out a Sam Dutton? Are they figuring out Lavalette about his struggles with sweeping curveballs and off-speed stuff? I think Rembert flipped the script a little bit, and he started figuring out the league, and because he's been tremendous in league play.
Yeah, Tyler Bell would be another guy at Kentucky. Tremendous shortstop. Passed up, was picked second round by the Rays last year. Rembert is my guy, but those are some guys that deserve a shout out.
The numbers that I have in front of me in league play is Rembert is third in average in league play behind a couple of guys that we have spent some time on today, named Ike Irish and Ace Reece.
What's that again?
Rembert is third in the SEC in average in league play behind a couple of fellas named Ike Irish and Ace Reece this year.
Man, that's elite. Let me pull this up. Randy says they need a copy of that freshman all-SEC team so they can go shopping. They being Texas. Yeah, a lot of people will look at that list, Randy.
Or Tennessee, Randy. Hey.
Yeah.
Tony V going to hop into the portal.
Yes. It's going to be a wild offseason. Seeing these guys get sought after. Coach of the year. Okay, I'm gonna give you a bunch of candidates and just give you reasons why. I think at Alabama, Rob Vaughn is tremendous. Remember what he took over a couple of years ago and that awful situation with the coach before him having bet against his own team. To pick that up to go a regional last year, and I think to potentially be a regional team, I would have Alabama hosting today. They got overshadowed because they always do, but shout out to him. Dave Van Horn, Mr. Consistency. You know what gets a guy fewer votes coaching in Coach of the Year discussions year in and year out? Being good all the time.
Yep.
Because people just expect it. Well, Arkansas is good. They didn't do anything out of the ordinary. We always give it to a coach that overachieved. Well, you set the bar against yourself when you're a guy like Dave Van Horn, and you're just good every year. Butch Thompson at Auburn, tremendous job off a disastrous year. Dealt with the Irish injury for a couple of weeks. brought in a sensational freshman class.
And allowed them to make some mistakes early.
Yes.
All right. I mean, so as you're feeling your way and then you get comfortable with your freshmen and had to juggle a whole lot of Saturday, Sunday pitching questions as they were trying to figure out what they were going to do behind Sam Dutton. But I mean, I feel like I've said this before on our show, Chris, but a lot of times, to your point about Dave Van Horn, he's had a tremendous year managing a whole lot of really talented future big leaguers. A lot of times, Nick Saban did not win SEC Football Coach of the Year enough. He was the best coach in the year every single year, but we pegged him, and I am self-deprecating here. I've voted on a whole bunch of at SEC Media Days and a whole lot of these things, writing for the Times Free Press in Chattanooga. When you do preseason predictions and then you put Billy Napier in Florida 10th in the league and they finished second, well, you're thinking he did a hell of a coaching job. No, you just maybe underevaluated in the preseason how talented they were going to be. And I mean, so you're then just changing the referendum to, well, we didn't know in the front end. And again, I'm saying we. And Billy Napier must have done a hell of a job. Billy Napier's barely a top half of the coaches in this SEC in football. I mean, Dave Van Horn is elite. And, I mean, so is Kevin O'Sullivan. And I know you hadn't gotten to him yet. But to start 1-11 and endure all those injuries and now have your team solidified as no worse than a 2 and a 2 nobody wants to see. I mean, he did a hell of a job.
Yeah, I mean, nobody had more injuries than Florida. Let's not forget Arkansas had a bunch of guys. Nolan Sousa's been out for the year for a while. We just forget about it. Carson Wiggins is probably done for the year. They had guys miss major portions of the seasons that were pieces. I think Hunter Dietz being one of them out of their bullpen. I mean, they were banged up a lot too. You just don't remember the guys that you didn't see because they were hurt most of the year. So they had that. O'Sullivan did a tremendous job. They were 1-10 out of the gate, kept getting hurt. Somehow he got them to 15-15. They're going to be playing in the NCAA tournament. Wes Johnson did a heck of a job at Georgia in year 2. Nobody used the portal for depth and pieces as well as he did. Jay Johnson, LSU, got a team that was in title contention until the end, rebuilt the roster, did a tremendous job with the top end of that pitching staff. Mike Bianco did a great year. Nobody expected much out of Ole Miss. Ole Miss is in the regional hosting conversation.
Tim Corbin had a great year.
Tim Corbin, with one of his least talented teams he's had, they're 19-11. Nobody saw that coming, especially from the midpoint of the year. I mean, that's a lot of great Hall of Fame level coaches. And I want to give them all their flowers for how they managed their teams and their seasons. But we got to pick one. So where are we going?
Well, at the risk of being called a homer, after finishing 15th last year and handling the freshmen the way he did, I understand, and Slosh is going to win it, but my vote goes for Butch Thompson because nobody expected this. Nobody expected there being a very real chance, depending on how Hoover goes, that Auburn's now going to sleep in its own bed until Omaha. And I'm not saying that's a dunk, but they played the toughest schedule in the country. They had huge pitching questions and relied on a whole lot of freshmen and dealt with the best, arguably before the season, the top SEC prospect, at least hitting wise, that was not named Lavalette was Ike Irish. And we didn't know if he was coming back. So my vote's Butch Thompson.
Okay, Wicked Brew brings up a really good point. And there's some stuff we didn't pack on Mike Bianco and Ole Miss, okay? They lost Liam Doyle and Andrew Fischer to Tennessee like literally just about the minute the portal closed. Did not see that coming. Had signed him to NIL deals. They lost Wes Mendez, who jumped in the portal the same day, ended up pitching a major role at Florida State. I mean, that was devastating from a team that was, I don't think made the SEC tournament last year. They went and found pieces in the portal. They rehabbed Hunter Elliott after 2 years, he pitches maybe a little differently, but he doesn't get hit. Hired a pitching coach, which he'd never done. Got a bunch of really guys that I don't think were getting headlines in the portal, but Luke Hill, I'm not saying they weren't sought, but not at the level like some of the guys at Tennessee got. Luke Hill, Ryan Moorman, he landed several of those guys. Mitchell Sanford from New Orleans. They played a tough schedule. They had 16 quad one wins. I mean, I was going Schlossnagle, but the more I think about it, I've got Grayson Saunier. There you go. And I know Schloss came into the league first year, right? And you win the title, and to the victors go the spoils generally. They were picked around 15.
Talk about injuries and what you lost.
Yeah.
You lose your Friday night starter, and you spend most of the year without your best hitter. In terms in just talking points.
Yeah.
And I mean, if we're going to bring up talking points, I give all the credit in the world to the Missouri coach that he hadn't kicked his kid or something, because that'd be so frustrating as hell that I'd blow up every other game.
Yeah.
I mean, really, is it just about everybody but Tony V, the guy in South Carolina, and who's his pants that got fired at State? Well, and early at A&M, he ain't gonna get a vote.
Oh, yeah. After rethinking it, usually go with your first instinct. I'm gonna go Schlossnagle, but man, I think this was the hardest conversation of all of them.
I think that's fair.
Yeah.
Even more than third base.
And somebody points out Tim Corbin, no first teamer. We did put Sawyer Hawks on the first team in a special thing, but one hitter in the whole thing. They had a lot of their lineup was disappointing. They had some injuries. He did a fantastic job too. Welcome, Sven. What hour of the morning is it where you are in Germany? Like to know. Plenty of state love in the podcast earlier. We didn't really put a lot of state guys on the team now that I think about it. But they had a lot of guys that were we had with Ace Reece and then Noah Sullivan were on there. Pico Cone probably had a puncher's chance at making a team. But yeah.
Hey, Swin says it's 8:08 in PM wherever he is.
Yeah. Well, he's going to be watching a lot of NCAA tournament baseball. So I hope the times are good for him. Hope the show was good for you guys too. Do us a favor, hit the like if you don't mind, and leave us a nice comment. That helps us get noticed. Super chats are always welcome. We've added a membership tier. We're doing about once or twice a week. Excuse me, I'm losing my voice. Stuff just for members only, where we talk about all kinds of stuff, mostly what you guys want to talk about. Join that. $3 a month. Helps the channel out. You'll get your value out of it. The membership link I've posted below. So check that out if you don't mind. Yeah, Jay Greason, it's been fun. We'll be doing SEC baseball predictions for the tournament coming up. We're going to record those. They'll be on the channel later this afternoon. But all of you guys, love our audience. It's great seeing the same guys in here time and time again and getting to know people. Appreciate you guys so much. We're going to see you with a bunch of content this week. Don't forget, join the membership tier. Leave us a thumbs up and a nice rating. For Jay Greason, I'm Chris Lee. You've been watching our SEC Awards show for baseball here at Southeastern 16.